Yuu, also known as Yuu, was the sole survivor of a plane crash when he was a baby and consequently lost the use of his legs. His parents' identities are unknown to him. Despite being an orphan, he doesn't feel sorry for himself. In fact, he is appreciative of the kind woman who runs a flower shop who adopted him and brought him up as her own. He meets Saki, his adopted older sister there. He first encounters an elderly man with a cane pointed upward as a child in the hospital. The man claims that he has magical abilities and can travel to other worlds. The chosen person will be able to travel back and forth between their world and another, according to him. His eyes begin to widen in amazement at this possibility and he longs to visit that world as well. The man grinned at him and explained that individuals' lives were intertwined between the two parallel universes, and they shared similar traits and interests in both. Before leaving the hospital, Yuu pays the elderly man another visit. He declares that he too will depart for the other world soon. Yuu asks if he can accompany him. Only selected heroes, however, can go. The old man chuckles. He is confident that he will be able to visit the other world if he becomes one. Yuu once witnesses a dog attacking Haru. He bravely takes the blow from the rock he threw at it in order to save the other boy. Following their encounter, the two make friends and introduce themselves to one another. Haru exclaims that they appear to be two of a kind, and that they are similar as she beams at him. Even though Yuu is practically seventh-wheeling Haru and his girlfriend Kotona, they are still friends years later. While the couple makes an effort to avoid making Yuu feel excluded, there are times when his disability prevents him from traveling to the locations they want to see. Yuu secretly has a distant admiration for Kotona. He is frustrated, but he doesn't express it because his friend is her boyfriend. He gets a call from Kotona at home asking for assistance because someone is stalking her, which is absurd given that she is either calling the police or the man who can't walk over her own boyfriend. Saki offers to drive him after he inquires about her location. He eventually locates Kotona after some searching, only to witness an assassin in a black cloak stabbing her. Haru arrives just as the offender flees. He quickly follows Haru as he carries her to the hospital, but as they cross the street, they run into Truck-kun and are isekai. They discover themselves in an unfamiliar location called Evermore when they open their eyes. Yuu casually begins to walk without realizing it as they stand up to look for Kotona, despite having spent the majority of his life confined to a wheelchair. They quickly exchange joyful hugs after Haru points it out. Yuu learns while exploring that they are in an entirely different world because there are demi-humans nearby. He surmises that since Kotona's wound is likely healed because his legs are usable in this world. When they describe their friend to the locals and ask if they have seen her, they are shown a poster of the Princess Astrid, who resembles Kotona exactly. They proceed to the castle without hesitation in order to see Astrid. They enter covertly via the carriage of some magical healers the king had ordered, and find Astrid lying on the bed with the same wound as Kotona in the princess's bedroom. Due to strong dark magic, the healers begin their ritual to remove the knife from Astrid's stomach, but they disappear into thin air and are unable to save her. When the others in the room leave, Haru and Yuu seize the chance to approach Astrid. Yuu tries to take the knife out, but swirls of dark purple energy appear. The wound on Astrid's body gradually heals as he disposes of the cursed dagger. However, the two friends are restrained and questioned. They explain that Astrid resembles their friend, which is why they are in the room, and they wish to keep her alive. The commander of the army, Barton, doesn't believe them, but Bertha, the knight who saw them perform the deed, bears witness to Yuu and Haru's goodness. The Magic Chancellor, Nas, advises being grateful to the two and considering them to be heroes. Princess doesn't understand Haru's questions as he tries to determine if she is Kotona. Yuu sneaks into the palace later that evening to see how Astrid is doing. He overhears their conversation and discovers that she shares Kotona's love of sour oranges. As he prepares to leave, Astrid intercepts him and offers to take him with her to the Lake of Purity so she can cleanse her body of the dark energy left over from the cursed dagger. As they travel in a fantastic flying boat, Yuu can't help but be in awe of the surroundings. When they arrive, he observes her dancing as her injuries are completely healed. She inquires about Kotona after the ritual, and the two exchange information about one another's worlds. Unaware that the invitation is actually a test of their loyalty, Yuu and Haru accept the king's invitation the following day to demonstrate their swordplay prowess. Many fighters show up at the arena to engage in combat with them. The two prepare to engage in combat by taking up their swords. Yuu avoids their blows with unexpected speed. As soon as he realizes Haru is in danger, he rushes to defend him. They defeat their opponents in perfect sync while standing side by side. They are to approach the king after Nas calls an end to the fight, on the grounds that they might be assassins from the Black Banner, the nation's enemies. Yuu, who has no other option, suggests returning to their world, reasoning that if they are about to pass away, they will be teleported back there. Both of them jump into the flames because Haru has faith in his judgment. It is effective. He was now compelled to get back into his slow Tesla and return to their world. Kotona appears out of nowhere unharmed, and Haru smothers her in a bear hug. When they inquire about her well-being, she shares that she recently witnessed a car accident. She claims that 3 men perished. They observe that they resemble the healers who attempted to save Astrid when they look at the images in the news. Yuu still recalls what the elderly hospital patient told him about interconnected lives. Yuu thinks it's real, whereas Haru doesn't, because he thinks their experiences in the other world were just a crazy fever dream. He believes that they saved Astrid, which is why Kotona is still alive and well. They search for Kotona the following day because she missed school and discover her at the hospital. She unexpectedly informs them that she only has 3 months to live due to a tumor. The 2 pals are in shock. Yuu feels compelled to go back to Evermore because Astrid's life is also in danger, so something must have happened. Haru, on the other hand, dismisses him as crazy and speculates that perhaps the princess was destined to die all along. However, because they saved her, his girlfriend will now suffer as a result. He agrees to go back to the other world, but he will kill Astrid this time in order to save Kotona. Yuu vehemently disagrees with him because he thinks there is a way to save both lives. They teleport back to the other world, but this time they are in different locations. Yuu returns and informs the palace that Astrid's life is in danger. He tries to convince them, but they don't believe him that Kotona was also saved when Astrid's life was saved. Additionally, he believes Bertha resembles Saki, his adopted sister. Haru was seen with the black banner, according to Barton. Yuu disputes the charge because he can't believe it. He begs Nos and the king to take him seriously. Fortunately, Nos takes his side and gives him a sword so that he can defend Astrid. To demonstrate his allegiance in return, he must murder Haru. When Astrid finds out what happened, he insists on being killed by Yuu in order to save Kotona. He rejects this idea, stating that it is wrong to sacrifice one person in order to save another. He doesn't know how the 2 girls' lives are connected, but he wants to save them both even if it means risking his life. The Black Banner army breaches the palace's gates. Haru, one of them, has organized the adversaries to assassinate the princess. In contrast, Yuu orders the knights to safeguard the princess at all costs before rushing to the battleground to engage Haru. He tries to stop him because if he kills the princess, Kotona might also perish. However, Haru appears to be insane and completely oblivious due to his desire to save his girlfriend. Even his best friend Yuu stands in his way, is threatened with death by him. The 2 take up their swords and start fighting. Haru continues to insist that he is acting in Kotona's best interest, but Yuu won't give in because he wants to keep Astrid safe. He strikes Haru sufficiently to bring him to the ground. Then he points his sword in his direction and begs him to stop. However, Haru orders him to kill the man because if he doesn't, he'll kill Astrid. As Haru does the same, Yuu grinds his teeth and draws his sword. He questions how they ended up attempting to kill one another after spending their entire lives as best friends. They are teleported back to their original world, where Kotona's condition has gotten worse just as they are about to die. Yuu makes an effort to persuade Haru by pointing out that every action has a corresponding result in another world. But Haru is still being obstinate and won't accept his story. Yuu's mind suddenly flashes back to a memory. Bertha was taken by the adversaries and her life was in danger. He implores Haru to accompany him to visit his sister Saki. They arrive just in time to witness the murderer who stabs Saki prepare to attack Kotona. He is hit with a pot by Yuu, and they hastily flee the area. The assassin changes into a huge spider, and the 2 explain the existence of the other world to Saki. Saki notes that only Yuu and Haru refer to her as Sis Saki, in contrast to the assassin. Haru finally admits he was mistaken. Kotona will also perish if he kills Astrid. Back in Evermore, they teleport. The king, Astrid, and Nos are challenged by Yuu. He reveals that none other than the Magic Chancellor Nos himself is the mastermind behind all of the attacks. He concludes that the suspect knew about the royal aegis is spelled guarding Astrid because he used a cursed dagger to kill the princess. Additionally, he was familiar with Seki's exclusive to them nickname. Only people in the palace are aware of that information, so an inside job is obviously involved. Nos disputes the charge because there is no supporting documentation. Yuu, however, explains that the cursed dagger and Nos both emit the same magical odor. He must display his body per Astrid's command. They had their suspicions, but when Nos was cornered, he took off his clothes and showed them the curse marks from the royal aegis. He releases a sinister aura and reveals himself to be Galaroth, the head of the Black Banner. In addition, Sebulus, the king's elder brother who is rumored to be dead, is also a part of this person. He was once murdered by his own father, but thanks to alchemy he was reborn and now he wants vengeance. To obtain Astrid's potent magic and become the new king, he intends to kill her. Nos assumes the form of Galaroth and uses a spell to command Haru to murder the princess. Haru's body moves to attack Astrid on its own, but Yuu stands in his way. To everyone's surprise, he blocks an attack and emitted a white light that blasted Haru away and destroyed the control magic. However, Galarath succeeds in kidnapping Astrid. Yuu tries to attack him, but the barrier prevents his sword from doing so. Galarath destroys the palace after they follow the bad guy outside to the garden. While quickly shielding Astrid from the falling rocks, Yuu is pierced in the back by a spear. Haru quickly removes it from his body like a moron as his friend screams in agony and the rate of blood loss increases. Galarath waits patiently as they transport him to a safer location, but he receives no medical care whatsoever. Astrid apologizes to him and kisses his forehead. Before he has a chance to respond, he notices her and Haru leaving to confront Galarath. The old man from the hospital appears to him once more as his vision becomes foggy. He is approached by a man who queries his fear of passing away. Yuu responds that he is, but his inability to defend those he loves makes him more afraid. Giving him his cane, the man explains that only a hero can use it. Yuu takes the cane and is shocked to see that it glows magically. Galarath becomes a massive monster. He grabs the princess and tries to drain her for strength. Galarath tries to kill Haru, but Yuu uses the cane to deflect his blow. He fights him with all of his might, determined to keep the people he values safe. Yuu is healed of his fatal wound by the cane, which now transforms into the legendary Mornstar sword, a weapon with tremendous damage potential. Galarath soars into the air with the princess to get away from the sword. Yuu asks a huge bird for assistance, and it lifts him up to the adversary. He catches Astrid and safely lowers them back to the ground after slicing Galarath's arm with Mornstar. Galarath pursues them, but Yuu uses his blade to deflect his blows. He quickly avoids their blows and returns one of his own. The monster switches tactics and chooses Astrid as its target, engulfing her in a dark beam. While attempting to defend her, Yuu is attacked from behind. Galarath, grinning in his triumph, he collapses to the ground. But as soon as he turns to look, Haru is charging at him, and the sword pierces right through his head. He then notices that Yuu's sword is missing. They triumph over Galarath, who dissipates into dust. They can be redirected through a portal to their home world, where it is discovered that Galarath's power is the only reason they were able to travel back and forth. But now that he's gone, they won't be able to return after leaving. Astrid expresses gratitude and bids them farewell. Yuu is grabbed by Haru because they need to get back to their world quickly before the gateway closes. Astrid claims that she will never forget Yuu and that she's always wished to be by his side. She insists that they must leave because they will perish if they stay in her world despite his reluctance. Yuu bids Astrid farewell before apologizing to Haru and letting go of his hand as they return. When Haru calls out his name, his friend smiles and bids him farewell. As soon as Haru enters the human world, they discover that the people they are familiar with are losing their memories of Yuu. Then it dawned on him, Yuu and he are one. Yuu entered the human world at the exact moment the plane crashed. He had come to save the man. Even though they come from different worlds, they are the same person. However, they became best friends as they grew older and even fell in love with the same person, Kotona for Yuu and Astrid for him. Their lives have always been intertwined. Yuu weds Astrid and becomes the new king in the other world. And this brings the anime to an end. Make sure to subscribe for more quality contents. See you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.